Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Be Thou a Guard Unto Them. And this is directly taken from the book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, which Lord's will we're going to cover a verse or two there. And we'll see how the Spirit rolls. I was sent an article, a video. I had some this morning I was sent this. Then I had ran across an article or somebody sent it to me. I can't really remember how it was, but immediately, I started thinking about, the beast, which is NATO and the EU, and how, pretty much they're supposed to all be one unit, but pretty much, you have some of them that are pretty much kind of rogue, The scriptures speak about them hating, this place because of the stout look, their look was more stout than their fellows, because that particular who that is identifying, should I say it that way, is America. And America is the most pompous, the most proudest of the Edomites. They look down upon everybody, because they pretty much get it from, the small hats. That's the top prideful people among the Edomites. And pretty much, there is a division amongst the ranks of NATO and the EU. And, they're supposed to be one unit working together. Yahushua said it best: a kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. And the first point I want to make, in spirit, like I said, I only had a couple of precepts that came to mind. I didn't really write anything down, so just going to go in the spirit. The first scripture that came, the first article is this here from Daily Sabah, which means Turkey has no plans to cut rapid oil imports. Welcomes Iran supply. So basically, you have Turkey, which is a member of the EU. Which is a member of NATO. And right now, America and NATO, these NATO forces are pretty much cutting ties with Russia, because America put sanctions on Russian oil imports and so on and so forth. And these nations that are part of NATO, these European nations, are supposed to back America, as they do. But here it is, you have this rogue NATO nation, Turkey, that is not playing ball. They say, man, fuck that. They rely on Russian oil imports. They rely on different things from Iran, so they're not going to cut ties. And the Spirit kind of reminded me that Turkey is a part of those nations that Russia is going to be a guard unto, and that's where the name of the title came from. All right. So let's see what we can glean out of this. It says sanctions on Russia will have a terrifying effect on the global energy market. Turkey warned on Wednesday, saying it will continue to buy Russian oil. But wait a minute, I thought you were a part of NATO. While also expressing hopes sanctions on Iran are lifted, a move that would bring additional supplies to meet global demand. Separately, the World Bank warned oil price hikes driven by the Russia-Ukraine war would slash growth for big importers. Turkey relies on Russia for 45% of its natural gas demand, 17% of oil, and 40% of its gasoline. Deputy Energy and Natural Resources Minister Alparslan Bayraktar said in remarks on the sidelines of the CERAWeek energy conference. The world needs more oil. I'll just say B. B said it needs to come from somewhere, from the United States, from Venezuela, from Iran, Saudi Arabia, or wherever we need it to be, he added. B stressed Turkey could not easily replace its Russian oil supply from elsewhere and added they have been old, reliable suppliers. The West's move to isolate Russia economically for attacking Ukraine have hit hard global commodity and energy markets, sending prices spiraling out and threatening to derail the nascent or birth recovery for the C-19 pandemic. It says the U.S. on Tuesday stepped up its campaign to punish Moscow by banning Russian oil and energy imports. Britain too said it would ban imports of Russian oil, but only by gradually phasing them out during 2022 to give businesses time to find alternative sources of supply. The sanctions will have a terrifying effect on the global oil market, B separately told Sputnik on the sidelines of the energy event in Houston, the U.S. It will be very difficult to replace Russia, the world's largest oil producer in the global market, the official said. Noting that countries are in a position where they should increase oil production as the CP pandemic is easing and the global economy is recovering. Actually, I don't know what effect this decision will have, but the previous U.S. sanction, including those on Iran, affected other markets and regions, including Turkey, B said. The sanctions will also have some spillover effect on other countries and the region, he added. War during price hikes to affect big importers. All right, so, you can read more of this. I just wanted to make the point that Turkey relies heavily on, these Russian supplies. So here it is. You have a NATO member. America put sanctions on Russia, and everybody else is supposed to follow suit. But they're saying the hell with that. We rely too much on Russian oil, so we're not going to cut that off. So what does that mean? That means that they're divided. And which is heavy because the Lord made it this way because Russia is going to be a guard unto Turkey. Let's go real quick to Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. And before I go there, just bear with me 1 second. Like I said, just bear with me 1 second. I didn't think to get a map of this. That's why I just wanted to get a map. I usually, they're a little hard to find sometimes to kind of somewhat pinpoint where some of these places are on the map. So just bear with me while I see if I could find. All right, I guess I could use this one for now till I could find something better. I see they're going off on that. You know what? Let me use this one. let me just use this one here. All right. As you can see here, this is Turkey, and these are the surrounding regions. These are pretty much from the scriptures, but let's go to the scripture first. Ezekiel 38:1, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, which Gog is the so-called Russians today. That's the land region where they inhabit today. That's known as Gog, which that's them, the land of Magog. Now, Magog goes back to one of the sons of Japhet. Let's go to Genesis 10 real quick. Genesis 10:2. The sons of Japhet, Gomer and Magog, Madai and Javan and Tubal and Meshach and Tyrus. So you see these Tubal, Meshach, Magog, Gomer. These are all sons of Japhet. Riphath, Ashkenaz, Gomer, Togarmah. These are all sons of Japhet, and they were brown-skinned people that lived in all of these regions here. All of the regions that's known as Europe today, Turkey, all of these islands in the Mediterranean Sea, they were all inhabited by the brown-skinned Japhetic people. And now Edomites that call themselves Europeans have taken over those lands. So that's why they say that the so-called white man is Japhet, and they're not. They just happen to take over those lands because that's what they do. All right, so going back. So it says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against it. So we're looking at the different places. You have Meshach and Tubal, which they're saying is up here in this region, which Georgia, I believe it's the Republic of Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. Georgia used to be a part of Russia because it used to be called Georgia, Russia. All right. Excuse me. All right. But now they're separated. But what Gog is doing, Russia, they're bringing back all of these different countries that were a part of Russia that broke away. And they're bringing them back because these countries that bordered Russia that were a part of the USSR, they were a buffer zone for invasion from NATO, EU, from America, so Russia, the Lord is putting the spirit on Vladimir Putin to go back and to gain or bring these nations that used to be a part of Russia back to him so that they can be so he could extend his border, so to speak. All right. Excuse me. It says, and say, thus saith the Lord of power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. Meaning that the Lord is going to, if somebody's running and you throw a hook in their jaw and it hooks onto them, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to turn them around. Just like you go fishing, you put a hook and the fish is swimming by and it goes to grab, the bait that's on the hook, and the hook hits it. What happens? It's going to turn the fish back around and you'll be able to reel it in. So the Lord is turning the so-called Russians around to reel them in to this World War III, eventually. And this is what happens. You have skirmishes here, you have rumors of wars, you have false flags, you have different things happening that eventually lead to a major war. It says, and I will bring thee forth and thine army, horses and horsemen. Now the Lord said he's going to bring the Russian army out. Now, when you read Ezekiel the 39th chapter, the Lord divides the Russian army into 6 parts. And he said, I will leave the 6. Is it 6 parts or is it, let me see. I believe it's 6 parts, yeah. Just look real quick. Ezekiel 39. Right. He divides it into 6 parts. Ezekiel 39:2. And I will turn thee back and leave but the 6th part of thee. Meaning he's going to leave one part of the Russian army in the homeland to protect the homeland. He's going to send 5 parts So the majority of the Russian army is going to be sent out into the Middle East in those areas there to fight this war of Armageddon. Only one part of the military will stay in Russia. I will leave but the sixth part of thee, and will cause it to come up from the north parts, and will bring thee upon the mountains of Israel, because Russia is going to be one of the main nations to destroy the land of Israel. All right. So let's go back. It says, let's read this again. Excuse me. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor. Right, because they're going to be supplying these nations with weapons. They're going to be protecting these nations, because there is a vested interest. It ain't just going to be, oh, well, Russia was sitting there one day in the merry month of May. Then all of a sudden they seen that America was messing with this particular country, and they say, you know what? I'm tired of America being a bully. Let's go step in and help this person out, so that they can have some type of fighting, so that they can stand a fighting chance. No, the reason why Russia is going to be a guard unto these nations is because they have a vested interest financially, economically. Russia buys certain things from them. They buy certain things from Russia, mainly oil, natural gas. They could also probably buy weapons, gasoline. So that's why they're going to be a vested interest. If America has control over a particular region, and that region is trading with America, and then another nation comes and invades that country, what do you think is going to happen? America is going to step in because they have a vested interest in that country. They're making money from that country. So that's why the Lord set it up in this manner, to where Turkey, which is a member of NATO, has heavy tie. They just don't get a little percentage of stuff from of natural resources from Russia. They're damn near reliant on that energy, from Russia. We read in the article where it says Turkey relies on Russia for 45% of its natural gas demand, 17% of oil, and 40% of its gasoline. So that's not something that you can easily replace, but the Lord made it that way so that they can have, some type of connection there for Russia to watch over and guard them. So it says horses and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, because this war is going to be fought like no other war. The only thing that can sort of kind of be compared to World War III was the ending of World War II, when America was dropping them serious bombs all over, Japan, to finally end the war. Because all throughout, these missiles are going to be flying. And once the missiles leave the silo, the Most High himself, Yahweh, is going to guide those missiles. His spirit is going to be in those missiles to guide them where he wants, because they're his missiles. They're his army. And he's going to guide them to where he wants them to go, because there's certain places that are going to be totally destroyed. And that's the bottom line. Now it goes into naming these places. Persia, which is what? Iran. And as we speak right now, whether it's a false flag or not, the elder Pashai sent me a video. I believe he sent me a video and an article dealing with this whole situation that's going on in Iran. Iran strikes U.S. base in Iraq. All right. So in them doing that, that's causing friction between Iran, America. The small hats are going to get up in there, because they were saying, I was watching something last night, and they were saying that once, Russia conquers Ukraine, the little hats are going to come and take it anyway. So the first scripture that came to mind is surely the least of the flock shall bring them out. Let's get that real quick. Because everything you see going on now is gonna push everything closer and closer to prophecy being fulfilled of World War III. And as we speak, and these wars and rumors of wars are popping off all over the place, you see the MOTB being pretty much being fully implemented, or should I say being fully established through the infrastructure of everything going online being digital. So that in that case, that's moving forward. All they need is the right crisis or whatever they're gonna do to push people to take it, or otherwise they'll be ostracized from being able to partake in buying, selling, so on and so forth, traveling. Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. And Teman are the mighty men of Esau, which are the smartest, which are the so-called Germans. It says, surely the least of the flock. Who is the least of the flock? The least of the flock are the small hats, shall draw them out. Why? Because they, behind the scenes, they control everything monetarily. You know? So whatever they like that big kid, whatever they want, you know, they get their big brother or the bully, America, to go get it for them. You know? And I'll stop there because, you know, them devils, they like to clip videos. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Yeah, because they will be desolate. The same thing here, Jeremiah 15:45, which is the same thing. Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Babylon. So pretty much in the 49th and the 50th chapter, it's saying the same exact thing. But in one, they're identifying the Edomites. And the other one, they're identifying Babylon, which ties Edom with Babylon, just like Psalms 137 chapter. And there's another reference in Jeremiah 49 and Jeremiah 50 where it references Edom, and then it references Babylon being destroyed like Sodom and Gomorrah. And that's another clue or tie that the modern day Babylonians is America. The Edomites here from America, or the Americans. So it says, therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Same thing we're reading here. Surely the least of the flock, and who are the Chaldeans? The wise men of the Babylonian Empire. Who is Teman? The smartest of the Edomite nation. Do you see? But it's just using code in this one, and this one is coming straight forward of who the Lord is speaking about. Here is code for the Edomites. Surely the least of the flock, as we just read here, shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Right. So America, Babylon the Great, will be destroyed. You have the Russians. You have you have India, Pakistan. You have different nations around the world that have, nuclear missiles, nuclear arsenals. And then you also have the allies of America that will turn against her. Let's go to Obadiah real quick. Obadiah 1. And I start at 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. Right, so you give, only reason why they're cool with you, because they know that you're a scumbag, but the only reason why they're cool with you is because you're giving them aid, you're giving them money, you're helping out their country, so to speak, even though you're hurting them, but they're taking your money. And as long as you're giving them money and benefits, of course they're going to take it. They're not going to be stupid. It says, and prevailed against thee, they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, there is none understanding in him. Right. So what I did, right, dealing with this whole situation with Turkey, right, this whole situation here with Turkey, how Turkey has no plans to cut Russian oil imports, welcomes Iran supply, Turkey is a member of NATO, right? And we read Ezekiel 38:5. Persia, this is one of the ones that well, let's read on. Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia, still called that, and Libya, which is North Africa, with them, all of them with shields and helmets. So these nations are down with Russia in somehow, some way. All right, and it's not a coincidence. The Lord is setting it up this way because this is the Most High's, movie. He's the director, the producer on high. He's the one that's guiding this thing in the direction that it's supposed to go. It says Gomer and his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarter. So now where are these located? When you look in the blue letter, or even if you go to the Strong's Concordance, Gomer, the eldest son of Japhet, a grandson of Noah, the progenitor of the early Cimmerians, not Sumerians, but Cimmerians, C-I, and other branches of the Celtic family, which were originally brown-skinned people. You got people now claiming to be Celtic, but they're Edomites. Not all of them, but some of them. All right? And when we go to Togarmah, the word there is Thaga-Ramah. Probably the area known as Armenia. That's part of it, but it also is also within the land of Turkey. That's why this right here, which is a map that was put together by somebody, so they're giving you approximate places as to where these nations are located. And if you see here Gomer and Togarmah, they got them located in Turkey. Then you have Armenia, which is here. So it's like bordering Turkey and Armenia. So this region here, which Turkey, like I said, Turkey is a part of NATO. Why are they going against America and NATO, and not complying with these sanctions and backing them up? So what I did was I went to Google and I typed in, let's see, which one is it? I typed in, does Turkey have nuclear capability? And I came up with this site here, list of states with nuclear weapons. 8 sovereign states have publicly announced successful detonation of nuclear weapons. 5 are considered to be nuclear weapon states under the terms of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. In order of acquisition of nuclear weapons, these are the United States, Russia, the successor of the former Soviet Union, the United Kingdom, France, and China. Since the NPT, which is a Treaty of the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, entered into force in 1970, 3 states that were not parties to the treaty have conducted overt nuclear tests, namely India, Pakistan, and North Korea. North Korea had been a party of the NPT but withdrew in 2003. Israel is also generally understood to have nuclear weapons, but does not acknowledge it, maintaining a policy of deliberate ambiguity. All right, well, you got something called plausible deniability. So we jump down here to something called nuclear weapon sharing. And it says nuclear weapons sharing. When you read here, it says under NATO, nuclear weapons sharing. The United States has provided nuclear weapons to Belgium, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Turkey to deploy and store. And here you have a list of U.S. nuclear weapons in host countries. You have Turkey. According to them, they have 50 warheads. Italy, 40 warheads. Germany, 20 warheads. Netherlands, 20 warheads. Belgium, 20 warheads, which I'm pretty sure they have more than that. But this is what's on the books. Now, Turkey is a part of NATO. These 4 countries here, Italy, Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, are a part of the EU. And I'm pretty sure they also are part of the of NATO also. So these nations that have these nuclear capabilities, as well as France and others, they're going to be the ones shooting missiles against America, because there's going to be something that's going to go down that's going to piss these European nations off, and they're going to, set it loose on them, because it is the plans of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Let's go real quick to, what is that, Proverbs 21. I always get this one. Yep, this is it, Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Because why? It is the Most High's plans to make these nations, move them onto the what's the word I'm looking for? The battlefield, so to speak, to fulfill his purpose. Just like when you're setting up when you were a kid and you would set up your army men, two opposing forces, you put them where you wanted to put them strategically, and then you were the one that would destroy them. Every way of man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord pondereth the hearts. Now the other one is in the book of Proverbs 16:1. It says, the preparation of the heart in man, and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. So everything you see everyone doing from day to day, it's the Lord's doing. He's the one that's setting this whole stage up the way that it's going in the earth. Job 33:15. In a dream, in the vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instructions. Yeah, from one day to the next, that he may withdraw man from his purpose, and hide pride from man. He keepeth back his soul from the pit, and his life from perishing by the sword. And also he also causes them to set up these different false flags and wars and different things of that nature to fulfill his will. Man, you brother got some, damn. I'm going to read a couple of these, man. You brothers are on fire. This is Jeremiah 3 and Joel 3:10. Let the weak say, I am strong. Yep, and it starts at the 9th verse. Isaiah 9:5. For every battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire, right? Because this war is going to be based off of, nuclear firepower and missile firepower. Joel 3:10, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Yeah, because they're pretty much going to be using their agricultural weapons, or should I say their finances for agriculture, and sinking them into making weapons. Haggai 2:22, and I will overthrow the throne of kingdoms, and I will destroy the strength of the kingdoms of the heathen, and I will overthrow the chariots and those that ride in them, and the horses and their riders shall come down, every one by the sword of his brother. Yeah, because really technically right now, this war that we see going on with Russia and Ukraine, they're the same people. They're Edomites. You have Jake in there, but they're Edomites, and they're both so-called Russians. One of them calls himself Ukrainian, the other one calls himself Russian. But Putin even said that. He said that they have brothers there, they have, family members there, fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, But the Ukrainians are being fresh. So, Russia got to go spank that ass. Zephaniah 3:8. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them all mine indignation. Here we go. All mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. Isaiah 13:4. The noise of the multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the hosts of the battle. So the Lord is setting this whole stage up. He's the one that's setting the stage up. Yeah, the brother put the definition for the word determination, the controlling or deciding of something, something's nature or outcome. Yeah, because at the end of the day, Yahweh is in charge of this thing. It's called what? Jehoshaphat, Yahweh Shaphat, the Most High, Yahweh's judgment. And he's sending his son Yahweh Shai and the angels to get busy. All right, so where were we? Okay, that's that. So Revelation 17 and 16, and the 10 horns, which is the EU, which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Why? Because they're, look, over the years, since they've been in these going all the way back to the 40s and 50s, when NATO and eventually the EU were established, America has been doing a lot of fucked up shit to these nations. Remember, going back to the 70s, America was getting cheese and wine and different things from France, which is a part of the EU and NATO. And when France noticed that the dollar bills were stacking up, they wanted to cash in on those dollar bills. And when they tried to cash them in to get silver or whatever it was that they were going to get, they quickly said, nope, we're going to temporarily, suspend, that agreement that we had. You see? So there's a lot of different things that have been done over the years by America to these different nations that's pissing them off, even though they're allies. So eventually, in one moment, all that stuff is just going to come back and they're going to say, you know what, fuck it, we had enough of this hoe. Because that's going to be the Lord's will upon them. And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. That's nuclear fire. And remember, some of these European nations have nuclear capability. Some of them it's out in the open, and some of them it's not. For the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will. See? So ultimately it's the fulfillment of the Lord's will. And to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. And that's the bottom line. When the Most High's plans are fulfilled, that's it. Now, on another note, I ran across this article, right? I'm not sure if a brother sent it to me or if I ran across it. Like I said, there's so much information. It's coming at such a fast pace. It's hard to remember every source where you get stuff from. But the point is that it's all built around prophecy. It says, this is from Bloomberg. Russia official warns Finland, Sweden against joining NATO. Yeah, because now that all this shit is happening, NATO is quickly moving to try to get a whole bunch of, nations to join them. And just like Russia warned Ukraine not to, join, they was flirting with disaster. So Russia had to go in there and teach them a lesson. So these two countries here, they're warning them, you better not even think about joining NATO. Because they will suffer the same fate that the Ukrainians are suffering. Because Russia, the Lord got the spirit on Putin and the Russians not to play anymore. Whether it's staged or not, the Lord got the spirit on them to do this. Because eventually, once the MOTB is fully implemented, World War III is coming. And world wars don't happen overnight. It happens, with skirmishes here and disagreements there and sanctions here and, and eventually it turns into this major world war. But all these different nations are involved in fighting, this war. All right. So it says the two Nordic countries say they will make own decisions. Russia's Putin has said NATO's expansion is a reason for war. Because remember, the wall of European nations that were blocking, the West from the East, they broke away from Russia years ago. They asserted their own independence. And now NATO's trying to move in, NATO trying to move in to get those nations to be a part of NATO so that they can pretty much surround Russia. They're trying to do the cauldron move on Russia, which Russians are experts at that. This is dated March 12, 2022, the year of turning up, which was yesterday. It says Finland and Sweden countered Russian warnings of retaliation should the Nordic nations join the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Military and political consequences may follow if the two countries join the pact. Sergei Belayev, director of the Second European Department of Russia's Foreign Ministry, told the state-owned news agency Interfax their non-participation in NATO is an important factor in ensuring security and stability in Northern Europe, he said. Putin has cited NATO's expansion east as a reason for his invasion last month, saying it represents a security threat to Russia. Ukraine has said it wants to join the elite alliance, whose members are treaty bound to come to each other's defense. We reject that kind of statement. Swedish security policy is determined by Sweden, said Ann Lind, Sweden's Minister of Foreign Affairs. Russia has nothing to do with our independent decisions. It says Finland, as a sovereign state, makes its own security policy decision based on our own interests, said Marja Livala, Director General of the Department for Russia, Eastern Europe and Central Asia at Finland's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It's very important for Finland that the NATO open door policy remains. Recent opinion polls show an increasing number of Swedes and Finns are in favor of joining the NATO defense bloc since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Earlier this week, Sweden's Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson cooled speculation about any near-term bid to join NATO, saying it could lead to further tension in Europe. So if those nations even think about joining NATO, well, they're going to be the next on the list. They're going to be the next on the list. All right, so pretty much, you see what's going on. The Lord is setting the world stage for this world war, and that would be the war to end all wars, which is in the scriptures is known as Armageddon or the Valley of Jehoshaphat. And that's the final war before Yahushua comes back. But before that can really fully come to pass, the MOTB has to be fully implemented. But you see everything ramping up to this world war. You have all of the major players out there. America has all different type of bases out there. You have the European nations. You have everything is in place. And these little skirmishes and rumors, that's all adding to the pot before it actually explodes. All right. So with that, I just wanted to mention that, that Turkey, being a NATO member, is still trading with Russia for their imports, and it also welcomes the Iranian supply. And then you have what is it? Iran just struck a U.S. base in Iraq. Claiming I don't know if they claim self-defense. Right. So it says Iran's Revolutionary Guard claims the missile attacks, saying it targeted Israeli strategic center in Iraq. Which Israeli strategic center is America's strategic center. That's because the scriptures say the least of the flock shall draw them out. All right. So with that, I pray that you brothers and you few sisters have been edified. Most of these are in the description box. This one here, you could just go to Israeli News Live or type in Iran strikes U.S. base in Iraq, and this video should come up. Matter of fact, I'll copy and paste it in the chat. You could go to it, and then this article from Al Jazeera, I'll paste it in there so you could go to it. So with that, I pray that you brothers and your few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say Shalom.